One of the Republican presidential candidates is in Orange County tonight speaking out about the San Bernardino massacre. Dr. Ben Carson outlined a series of steps that he says would protect the American people from future terrorist attacks. Now, KCAL 9 political reporter Bryan joins us now live from Costa Mesa with more on his conversation with Ben Carson.
Hey, Jeff, the terrorist attacks both in San Bernardino and even in Paris are having a dramatic impact on the presidential campaign dialogue, forcing the candidates to outline their plans for responding and protecting the public. And that's where our interview began with Dr. Ben Carson here in Costa Mesa tonight.
You're Mr. President. We've just had this horrible event in San Bernardino. People are scared. What are you going to do to protect Americans after this event?
Well, first of all, you got to assure the American people that you're not blind and that you're looking at this situation and that you recognize that this is terrorist activity. Nice to see you. How are you doing? Okay.
Republican presidential candidate Dr. Ben Carson, who's on a one-night fundraising trip to Orange County, told me the San Bernardino terrorist attack clearly demonstrates it's time to, at least temporarily, shut down immigration to the U.S. from Syria and other troubled parts of the world.
And therefore, we're going to put a moratorium on bringing people in here from that who are suspicious, period. I would just say, right now, we're going to halt this until we can put in place something that actually works.
So for the Syrian refugees is a big issue now.
Right.
Moratorium?
Absolutely.
On all of them?
Absolutely.
But in the San Bernardino case, the shooters were Syed Farouk, who was born in the U.S., and his wife, Tashfeen Malik, who had a passport from Pakistan and got into the U.S. on a fiancé visa because she was marrying Farouk. She's believed to have had no record of terrorist activity, so it's unclear what kind of immigration screening system would have rejected her entry. I asked him about how he would protect America from homegrown terrorists who are not immigrating to the U.S.
There are people already here in the U.S. These folks involved in this had been here for at least a couple of years, and ISIS and other groups are recruiting homegrown terrorists. What are you going to do as president to protect us from that?
Well, I think what we need to do is monitor the internet. We need to monitor the social media. I don't see anything wrong with trying to disrupt their communications.
How so?
Cyber disruption.
Mm-hmm.
I don't,
cyber attack?
Cyber attack is probably the wrong word, but being able to target them, being able to target their servers.
No one's going to post on the internet, hey, we're going to attack this office next week. So monitoring is one thing, and it certainly has a place. How do you protect the American people from those people who are already here and they're already working in conjunction with you?
Well, I think we have to teach people to be vigilant. You know, the greatest defense is going to be the American people themselves. You know, when you see something, say something.
When I suggested many experts believe the war on ISIS cannot be won without a ground war component, this is how it went.
Are you going to send American troops, American forces to fight ISIS, to join and have an active role in that?
Well, I think we certainly should combat them, but you know, we have to do it in ways that actually work. You use what you need. You understand what your plan is. You get your military experts in. You ask them, what do you need in order to accomplish that? And that's what you provide.
Are we still talking about troops from other nations, Middle Eastern nations?
I would certainly want
Not
to,
American troops.
I would certainly want to include them, but there may be some American troops, or it may be just special ops.
Well, particularly on this issue, it seems that Mr. Carson wants to keep all options open. But some analysts believe that his tendency to talk in broad generalities, particularly on issues like national security and foreign policy, isn't helping his campaign, especially after the San Bernardino and Paris attacks.